So this is part two of my two-part video series on my final project on trying to present Deltamath in high school curriculum and or just curriculum in the classroom in general. So we've gone over the features now, so then let's keep getting moving and talk about the importance of Deltamath. Well, why is this important? Well, it's a great supplementary tool to help students. It provides an endless amount of practice and it shows step-by-step guidance and with animations and different portions to try to help students get the practice that they need for algebraic expressions and geometric expressions, calculus, trigonometry, and even computer science. It helps teachers to assign homework, practice quizzes, and even tests. It lets teachers monitor student work. It provides students with instant feedback, solutions, and process. It is useful in one-to-one or online classrooms. So if you're in a classroom that where every student has a laptop, or if you need something to kind of help students get the practice that they need right now in remote learning or e-learning settings, this is a perfect tool for that. It also helps personalize student work and eliminate homework copying. Because all the problems are randomly generated, students cannot really copy the homework from one to another. Even these word problem answers will kind of change. Yes, while the sentences might be very similar, the general problem will kind of change around. So that'll happen with most of these. If I keep hitting new problem, it'll change and change again. So that way it's more tailor-made for each and every student. Now, so how do you use Deltamath? Well, this is actually pretty easy. So for instance, let's say we go to the front here. Now, signing up. Well, accounts on Deltamath are free. I mean, you can't beat that. It's free with an option to upgrade to a paid membership. Most of the key features are available in the free edition. I haven't really had the need to pay the extra money to deal with all the better parts of Deltamath. Most of them are just absolutely 100% free. If you'd like to, I think sign up is about $20 for about a half a year or $60 for a full year, something around that scale. So teachers can sign up with any email. And teachers provided with a classroom code upon making your account. So for instance, let's go in and trying to create some classes. So you can create several different classes. Now, if I put in my email and everything, I can log in, or if I want to, I can create an account. It's going to ask me if I'm a student or a teacher. If I'm a teacher, actually, let's try that. Whoops. Let's try to create an account one more time. Create account, let's say teacher. It's just going to ask you if you're Mr. or Mrs., whatever, first, last name, your email, password, all the normal things, right? What school, and how many periods you tend to have. Like, do you like going by periods, classes, sections, or however you want to explain them? And then you can put in the number of periods. Doesn't really matter how many periods you put in because then you can always edit them later. So if you are a student, well, what happens is you'll see a slightly different one. So if you create an account as a student, it's going to ask you for your teacher code, and then it's very, very simple process after that. It does not have to do with all the other information as you saw before. It's very simplex. The most important thing is having a teacher code. So then now that I've got my account, I'm all logged in, what will happen is you can use any of this available content in any classes. Now, for instance, students have to choose a class that they are in on their sign up, and I've had maybe one or two cases where the student clicked the wrong class and was entering the wrong class. It's easy to switch them back out. Assigning assignments, well, you can assign any number of modules to any class and any number of problems to a module. You can do multiple due dates with varying scores, and I'll show you how easy that can be. For instance, let's say I want to start trying to do a new one. Let's go to Create Edit. So I'm going to create a standard assignment, right? Well, here's the overview. I can name it. I can select which period I want to give it to. Do I want to give it to all of them, or do I want to give them to very specific periods? I can select which ones I want to do that with. I can post immediately later a specific time if I want it to be available at certain times. Now, the skill is the great part. Here it goes. All right, so if I want to choose like certain skills, like for instance, let's say I want to talk about fractions. Well, man, here are all the things about fractions. Maybe I want to identify fractions. And you can just click this plus, and that'll put it here. Now, what it's going to ask is how many problems you want to give them that are random, and you can change that to whatever number you want. So typically defaults at 5. The penalty just means how much off each problem is if they get it wrong. You can also set a weight and number of attempts. Maybe you want to give them 2 attempts, maybe you only want to give them 1 attempt, maybe you want to give them a hefty amount of attempts before they move on to the next question. And you can kind of keep adding on more and more sections to this, and you can change the amount of problems you want them to do, move it around, etc. And this would just be one assignment, or you can individualize them too. Now, there are also due dates. You can choose the due date, what specific time, and you can add a late date as well. So late date 1 for, let's say, 80% credit, and then you want to choose another late date for about 70%, etc., if you need to stagger your late dates. So what does that look like for teachers? Well, let's say if I view assignments here, right? Here I have a bunch of classes, and you can see all these students that have already kind of attempted certain problems. It'll tell you the completion rate of each of their assignments right here. So obviously 80%, 80%, 7%. So let's click on this one, like A/B review. I can even click on a student here, and it'll show me all the things that they have done, total correct, total problems, their percentage of accuracy as well. I'm going to look at the 7AB review I did, which is Pythagorean theorem, level 1, Pythagorean theorem word problems. If you look, the student kept on trying and got some wrong, but then kind of figured it out. So they got the first one right, wrong, right, wrong. I'll tell you how long it took them and how much time they spent on each problem. You can edit how much time they are allowed on each problem as well. Also show their accuracy here. In this one, they actually went above and beyond. They got 6 out of 5 correct when they were only required to have 5 right. And their identifying trig ratios, they got 100% in about 43 seconds. So I'll show you for all of these different ones that they had to kind of complete. So, and that was just one piece. Now, if I want to look at a specific period, I can, like that. Maybe I want to see it by first name or last name. It'll show me everything that I need. Now, if you also want to look at your student data, or maybe students' last actions, you can do that as well. It'll tell you the last time that they logged in, what they did, etc., etc. You can also go to Tools and go to Manage Students and Classes. And here, you can manage all your periods, change the name, you can move students around. You can also look at their email that they use to try to sign into other account, because every so often there's always that student that goes, I forgot my information. Well, you can provide them with the email that they signed in with, so that way they can resume their learning that they did previously. So these are all great and useful tools. All right. You can edit the assignments at any time as well. So, and there's this, you can set the number of retries, and it's just great and amazing tool. Now, where's the application of this? Why would we use this in a classroom? Why is this applicable? Well, it's great for grading student progress. It's great for student practice in your classroom if you'd like to grade their progress as they're going along in their units. It's great for practice if you just want to give them rigor and show them step by step how to do it. It's great for formative or interim assessments if you want to give them just quick quizzes. And the randomized problem generator is great if you're just trying to do some kind of, okay, let's just make a random problem and just something to pull from thin air. So it really saves me a lot of time with the randomized problem generator, because there are times that I'm creating assignments and I just don't like to think about problems out of thin air. So I'll use Deltamath to kind of help me to randomize my problems, and then maybe make me think of different problems in different ways, and then I can add them into my lessons. I think it also can be used for bell ringers and exit tickets, which are helpful, but I understand it might be harder for kids to kind of pull up laptops, put them away, etc., etc. But it can definitely be used in that context. Now, there are some limitations. Not many, but there are some. The first thing is that the questions are mainly multiple choice or short answer, right? Those units are already pre-made, and they usually have these kind of answer types. There are no long answer questions or geometric proofs. Obviously, the system is set up to very, very specific answers, and geometric proofs because they're kind of like writing in regards that it requires a different kind of mathematical tool to be able to grade proofwriting. Answers must be correctly formatted. It can be a little bit sensitive with answers, but it also has a lot of leeway. The only time that I've seen that it gets really finicky with answers is with rounding. Sometimes when I've tried to be extremely accurate with rounding, it tells me I'm wrong. And other times it tells me I'm right. That's the only time I've noticed that there are some issues with this system. You cannot share classes between teachers. So if you're co-teaching, you both would have to share the same account. You can't transfer any data from one teacher to another. It's also more algebra-based and less of a convergence of high school geometry. It does have high school geometry. There's a lot of trig. There's a lot of sine, cosine, tangent, even graphing with that stuff. But I think it just mainly talks about kind of some of the higher levels of geometry, like proofwriting, it cannot handle. So, in conclusion, why is Deltamath great? Well, why should you use it? It's easy to assign. It is easy to grade. It is versatile, and there's so much variety in its assignments and its mathematics. It provides instant feedback for you and your students. It's affordable at free, which is great. And just, it has all those wonderful, wonderful tools there for you. So that's why I think Deltamath would be a wonderful addition to your classroom. And I thank you very, very much for listening to my seminar on this.